Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is David Benjamin from healthywildandfree.com. Today, my hair is just looking crazy because I had a hair tie. That's it. I had a hair tie, and it broke. So my hair is just wild and free today. So yeah. Anyways, that's not what this video is about. It's not about my hair at all. I just figured I'd mention it because it's kind of crazy and looks crazy and whatever. So, anyways, I wanted to talk today about GMOs because this topic, for some reason, people still don't get it. So we got to keep talking about it until some of you get it. And even if you do get it, I think this video is going to be really valuable for you because it's important to understand how GMOs work and, just how everything is connected so you can better understand and explain it to people, because if you can't understand it, if you don't explain it, you lose people. And you have to understand it in order to be able to explain it well and eloquently and intelligently. So this is for those of you that question GMOs, or you're unsure about GMOs, genetic engineering of foods and seeds and that kind of stuff, and why I think it's really important and valuable to understand this topic. So GMOs stand for genetically modified organisms. It's also called genetic engineering. They genetically engineer the seed or the crop in order to do something, in order to enact a trait that they would like it to see happen. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked that well. Statistically speaking, this isn't like bias or anything. It's worked well in the monoculture sense. Monoculture is a type of farming where you just see like long rows of corn or long rows of soybeans or long rows of cotton. So it's worked really well in that sense because the monoculture world, it's all the same. There's no biodiversity within the soil, within the crops, or within the yields or anything like that. So it's played its role, or it's played its part in that sense, but unfortunately what happens over time is because genetically modified organisms, genetically modified seeds and crops depend on a pesticide or an herbicide such as Roundup, that petrochemical based fertilizer or herbicide or whatever deteriorates the soil and eats away at the good bacteria, the good microbes in the soil. And that's really important to understand because the soil needs healthy bacteria in the soil in order for it to actually grow, in order for any crops, anything to yield from the soil, the bacteria in the soil needs to be healthy. So that's the first thing to understand. I'm going to start walking because people are coming and I want to keep this video going because I already started. So the soil is really important and really valuable. The health of the soil is really valuable and really important. And most people forget that, when they talk about GMOs and GMO seeds and GMO crops and all this kind of stuff, because they don't think about the long-term effects. They just think about what's now. What do I get now? What's happening or what's going on now. So that's a really important thing to understand. The effects of the soil and everything. My hair is looking crazy. What else? So beyond that, what's really important to understand is the idea behind genetic engineering is it's a very broken thought consciousness, right? So genetically modified organisms, what they do is they take genes and they do what's called gene splicing, and they can take a gene from one plant and put it into another plant and give that plant those traits simply by putting the gene from one plant into another plant. Also, to add to that, they can take genes from, say, a pig or an animal and add those genes to a plant, which will then, give the plant some sort of pig-related genes, which obviously is not kosher or halal at all, if you're kosher or halal. So it's not even vegan or vegetarian in some cases. So I mean, in that sense. So what's interesting is that how genetically engineering food works is it takes genes and it utilizes those in a new environment that wouldn't have happened organically or naturally, like my hair you can see blowing in the wind, in nature, in its organic evolutionary environment. And that's really important to understand because evolution is why we're here. Evolution is, why we still exist and survived because we evolved as a human species. The plant species that are here have evolved to survive. The animal species that are here have evolved to survive. And whenever you play with evolution and survival, you're fucking with livelihood. Think about that. Whenever you're playing with evolution or survival of a species or a livelihood, um, you're fucking with livelihood. You're fucking with Mother Nature. You're fucking with Gaia. You're fucking with God. Whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't matter. And it's really important to understand. The way I look at it is this. So if we just take any of these plants back here, right? It doesn't really matter which plant. If we were to take like this plant right here, this one right here. This plant has evolved to survive, right? See that? It's its own plant. It grows on its own. All it needs is the environment, a healthy environment to grow in. So sunshine, soil, water, and the seeds, and they work in that environment and it survives and it creates life. That's natural. That's organic. It's beautiful. It happens without us working, right? When you have plants and trees and green stuff growing around you and you don't have to work for it, that's pretty awesome, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm lazy in the sense of that sense, but, it just makes sense, right? Why alter it? Why play with it? Why modify it? So the way I like to look at it is if you were to take any plant, right? So if you take any of these plants or trees or anything and you break it down to what it is, right? So plants have phytochemicals, they have macronutrients, they have micronutrients. It's called a plant profile. And when you take a plant profile, all plants have different plant profiles, right? But the thing is science, our science, the science that we all know, like, love, and trust, which is ever evolving and should be objective and is never 100% truth because it's the truth that we currently know through the perspective and lens that we currently have. That science hasn't even researched and studied all of the plants in our environment yet. We don't even know what we're dealing with. We don't even know, we don't even understand the complexity of the, let's call it coding of the plants, right? So if you look at like technology, let's correlate nature and the environment with technology because it really is just a very complex form of technology. If you were to build a website or build a protocol or build an app or build any type of technology, you would use what's called a coding. You'd code it, right? So it'd be like use a coding language. So maybe JavaScript, HTML, HTML5, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different means to an end when it comes to building technology. So people, work within these frameworks, these coding frameworks, right? These coders, these developers, to build technology. And if you look at nature, it's really sort of the same thing, but the only difference is we didn't code it. We didn't create it. We didn't put our input into the environment and the earth that is around us and that created us because we come from the earth. If you break down our biology and who we, like what we are, not who we are, but what we are, I guess who we are to some degree too, but what we are, chemically speaking, we are the earth. We come from the earth. We are the earth. 70% of our, or 60% of our body is water. That's, correlating with the oceans in the world. The nutrients and micronutrients that are in, plants and in the environment are also in us and also feed and our survival and our thrival. So we really are earth beings. We are, when you say human nature, we are human nature. Nature is us and we are nature. We come from nature. That's why human nature is just a form of nature. Just like animals are a form of nature as well. So it's really important to understand that we have evolved through, I don't know, millions of years or whatever, however many years. Could be billions, could be millions, could be hundreds of thousands. I have no idea. Uh, Science isn't really, well, it's clear, but, who really knows, honestly? I mean, seriously. We could come from another plane of existence. Who really knows? But with that being said, we didn't code the earth that we came from. We didn't create these plants. We didn't create any of these species. We didn't create any animals. We didn't create any plants. We didn't create, the framework that we live in. We didn't create this, the 70% bodies of water, oceans, and rivers and lakes and streams, and the sunshine. We didn't create any of this. We created absolutely zero. We created none of it. So to have the ego or the ignorance or the combination of both that says, I've only been here for, 42 years and I'm a scientist, I can do better. I can do better than millions of years of evolution and natural selection because I'm a fucking scientist. Damn. Talk about an ego on that one. Talk about ignorance. Talk about stupidity. I mean, really, truly, think about it. To think that you can beat something that we, first of all, took millions of years to evolve from, but secondly, we don't even understand it fully. Think about that. We haven't researched all the species on this planet yet, so we don't even understand the plant kingdom. We don't even understand the food kingdom, the species and the things that we eat. We don't even understand all these things fully yet. So to not fully research and understand something and then have the ignorance and ego to think you can beat that is ass backwards. It's putting the cart before the horse. And I think it's really important to understand that concept because when we talk about genetic engineering, there are ways to improve crop yields. There are ways to get more food out of your soil. There are ways to, get more biodiversity and more macro and micronutrients within the same, half acre or quarter acre of space when you're growing food. There are a lot of ways to do this. It's called permaculture. It's called biodynamic farming. It's called, crop rotating. And there's so many principles that are beneficial to growing healthier yields, both in size but also in nutrient density. Because if you compare, these genetically modified foods to, organic or biodynamically grown or veganic grown or whatever, it really doesn't matter. You're going to find out that these organically grown fruits and vegetables are more nutrient dense. And why is that? Well, genetic engineered foods rely on their herbicides and their pesticides and other chemicals. So the plant composition is soaking these things up. It's soaking up glyphosate. It's soaking up all these toxic carcinogens and chemicals. And the nutritional profile is diminished, decreased, because it has to make room for watery slush, watery crap. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think I am. Because I'm pretty damn healthy, and I also know how it feels to eat healthy. I know how it feels to live an organic lifestyle because I've chosen that for my life, and I feel much better. I sleep better. I actually sleep. I didn't sleep before. I actually sleep now, but I also sleep much better. And the quality of my life, the quality of my energy, the quality of my brain, my cognitive function, my creativity, my thought processes have all been enhanced because I chose to eat organic and I chose to take care of my health and myself. And I just want people to understand that genetic engineering, as promising as it sounds and as technology driven as it sounds, it's really not technology driven. It's ego and ignorance driven. I like Wayne Dyer's definition of the ego. He says, Rip Wayne Dyer, I love him, rest in peace. His definition of the ego was EGO, edging God out. Now, whether you believe in God or not, it really doesn't matter, because if you look at everything, this entire existence around us, right? All of this plant life, all of these species, all of this stuff that we live in that we don't really fully yet understand or can't even define, it was created by something before us. And obviously there was some sort of higher intelligence, whether you want to call it God or believe in God or not, it really doesn't matter. But the ego comes from a place of edging God out. So it comes from a place of, I'm the best and I'm always the best and I beat everything. And to beat millions of years of natural selection and evolution, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Not yet, at least. Not yet. I'll say not yet. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but not yet. And here's why. Because we haven't fully researched and understood this beautiful oasis called Earth that we live in and on. And until we understand the coding or the frameworks that go into these plants, we can't beat them. We can't out-engineer them. And also, like, think about this for a minute. Just bear with me. To take a gene from a pig or an animal, right, and to put that into a plant, by the law of nature, right, by the law of nature, that's never going to happen. A pig is not going to see a plant one day and say, oh, like, I see that plant, like, I want to fuck it and make babies. It's statistically impossible. It's statistically unevolutionary. My hair's looking real crazy now. Yeah, get that crazy hair in there. Ah! It's not possible. Pigs don't fuck plants. They eat them. So to put animal genes into a plant and then try to feed it to your ass makes no sense whatsoever. So yeah, if it made more sense, right? If the genetic engineering was like, you know, hybrids, right? If you were to just take plants and you know, modify them slightly with you know whatever, it's a little different. It's not the same. But we need to pay more attention and we need to be more aware. So anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. GMOs are really important, and I actually used to work with a soil company that was like built organic matter and the microbes in the soil up and made the soil healthier so that the plants would yield healthier. That was years ago, but I learned some things from that, and I think it's really important to be aware of what you're eating and what you're putting in your body and to explain this to people and share it. So this is just my philosophy on genetically engineered foods, genetically engineered seeds, and I hope that you learned something from it. If you did, please like, favorite, comment, and share below. Hit that subscribe button, and next to the subscribe button there's a little bell. Hit that bell, you'll get updates. And if you're on Facebook, like the page, follow, leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to debate me, feel free to argue. I don't even care, because I want to hear different opinions. I want to hear different perspectives. That's how you learn, that's how you grow. So challenge me, and if you can't agree with me and add your 2 cents, I want to hear your 2 cents also. Thanks a lot for your time. Have an awesome day. This is David Benjamin, healthy, wild, and free. I love you. I appreciate you. Have an awesome day. Peace.